I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to another review. This is yet again a Patreon request for Forrest, who wanted my thoughts on a few movies, including the first three Toy Story films. And so, talking about Toy Story 2, which came out in 1999. First off, thank you so much for you and everyone else who's joined me on my Patreon. If anyone's ever interested, certain tiers do you certain things. If you want to be part of my Patreon, the link is down below in the info box. Or if you want to request pretty much any type of video, you do it directly via my PayPal, and the link to that will be in the info box as well. And Toy Story 2, yet again, like the first one, you know, growing up, I'm like, I don't know about Toy Story films. I don't really have as much of a connection to toys compared to other people, because as a kid, I did play with toys, but I was more into movies and video games compared to other people who were more into toys. So I know this seems like a very stupid factor, but it's just I didn't really have the connection to the kid and stuff and so forth. But watch it again as a story. These films are well done. They're well written. They're well animated. The voice work. Tom Hanks and Tim Allen come back again as Woody and Buzz Lightyear. Also, you have Jim Varney. I think Sally was around this time, or was it the third one? I cannot remember if it was this or the third film where Sally. Jim Varney is in there as the Slinky Dog, but I try to remember if it was this or the third film that Jim Varney passed away, and I apologize, I cannot remember exactly, but either way, it was still nice to hear a bit of him. You also have Wallace Shawn, that's one I didn't mention in the previous video, who plays the dinosaur Rex. Wallace Shawn, I remember from The Princess Bride, going inconceivable. Here, he's pretty good in the role, as he was in the first one, and as was the third one. John Ratzenberger is the Pity Bank Ham. Don Rickles is Potato Head, still a dick, but yeah. You also introduced to some people. Joan Cusack is a voice here as Jessie. Kelsey Grammer has a voice here as Stinky Pete, the prospector. Ermey has a little voice role as one of the army men. I didn't realize that Annie Potts was the voice of Bo Peep. I never realized it was Annie Potts. Interesting. Never noticed that. And Laurie Metcalf was the voice of Andy, like the kid's mom. I never notice that was Laurie Metcalf. Like I remember her from Roseanne and Scream 2, among others. Wayne Knight, from Jurassic Park. You didn't say the magic word. You didn't say the magic word. He's here as a human who, the story of this film, I thought they came up with an interesting story once again. You have Woody and Buzz and the toys. Pretty cool opening where Buzz is on a space mission going to all this stuff and you realize it's a video game. I thought there was some clever stuff, like you assume, oh, okay, they got a dog, which was hinted at the beginning of the first film. So you go, okay, this dog's going to be trouble. But instead, this dog you think is trouble, but is actually nice and playful. I thought that was a nice little twist on that. And I'd probably say I like this more than the first one. Maybe because in the first one, just because of what the story is, you're made to look Woody as kind of a, not really a bad guy, but he messed up and it's more of a retribution story. Here, it's more of you feel sorry for the character because he gets a bit ripped up and Andy's like, oh, I don't really want to play with him now. He's worried about, he's having nightmares being thrown in the trash. What's he going to do? One thing leads to another. Also, it shows Woody even more. I mean, he wasn't the first one, but even more as being a good guy. And Tom Hanks once again voices the character well because he goes out of his way to save this squeaky penguin toy from this yard sale. But he gets bought by this collector. The collector's voiced by Wayne Knight. And so the toys try to chase after him and save him. And then when Woody gets there, I thought it did a nice job as a sequel establishing more of Woody's character, where he came from, that his character was based on a show that was a big hit back in the day, and there was all this merchandise, bubble displayers, yo-yos, and there was other cast of characters with him. There was this female named Jessie. There was this prospector voiced by Kelsey Grammer. There was this horse, which I liked the horse. It was a cute horse called Bullseye. I thought, gee, that's cool. That's a nice thing to do with a sequel where you're learning more about the characters. You're adding more into, I don't want to say the mythology, but you're adding more to the world. Okay, that's a nice way to go in with your sequel. It's well animated once again. Well paced. These films are fairly short, like an hour and 20 some minutes. And apparently this movie was going to go direct to video, like the initial plan, because they had success with films like The Return of Jafar, which I think they said made like 100 million on VHS. So they're like, oh, well, people are really going to want to rent and buy the VHS tape. So boom, there's $20. You want it? Go buy it. But then late in the game, they said, oh, no, we're going to put it in theatrical anyway. And there's some interesting stories. Apparently there was a bit of a troubled production. And real quick, like just some interesting stories. Well, let me talk about a little bit more before I get to that. Because it's pretty lengthy, but to me it's pretty interesting. But I thought the Joan Cusack's character, I was going to say Joan Allen. Joan Cusack's character, I like Joan Cusack as an actress. Her character was a bit irritating. I mean, granted, you get her point of view where, fine, you want to go off to your owner, Andy, well, he threw you away, and you realize, A, later on, she was also a toy that got thrown away, or not thrown away, but discarded and forgotten about. Also, she doesn't want to be put back into, for these toys, isolation. So that's why she doesn't want to leave, but then when he does want to leave, she's pissed off about it. But I don't know, her character still came off as a bit irritating to me, but I don't know. That's just me. There are some clever sequences, like him trying to sneak out Woody, but it's a land of Cheetos that Wayne Knight dropped. He's trying not to accidentally step on these Cheetos. I thought that was a fun little sequence. Another fun little sequence is when the other toys are trying to arrest you. They get to where Wayne Knight's staying at, and he works at this store, toy store. And when they get in, they see a whole bunch of Barbies having a party. There's actually later on a nice little Jurassic Park reference where they're in this Barbie car. They look back, and it's the Rex dinosaur coming at them from the rear view mirror. Must go faster, must go faster. They don't say that, but that's what I was thinking in my head. And again, the story does delve into hey, when your owner's growing up, you think what? He's going to take you to college? When he's growing up more, you think he's going to take you to honeymoon, on his honeymoon? So I thought they do a nice job establishing these characters, as to like what their future will entail. Not bad writing for a movie about toys. And it was nice to see some toys, like introduction of the Barbie toys or the Rock'em Sock'em robots. They have a little scene. So it was nice to see what new toys they would put in there. I will say one of the things about these sequels, I'm not sure if I really like the way they've used the Buzz Lightyear character. Because in the second one, there's a mistaken identity. And, well, they had some clever stuff because, well, no, I was going to say because you do have the villain who is the villain on Buzz Lightyear's show, and that toy tries to go after Buzz. But you could have had the actual Buzz just take care of that toy. I don't know if you really needed the other Buzz Lightyear. And especially the third one, I didn't really like what they did with Buzz Lightyear, but I'll get to that. It just seems, compared to Woody, Buzz Lightyear kind of didn't get much story treatment compared to Woody. Because you think of Toy Story, you think of those are the two leads. And I like Tim Allen. It just seemed like Buzz Lightyear really got the shaft when it comes to storytelling in the sequels. When he was made to be sort of a big thing in the first film. And like, I like Tom Hanks. I like the Woody character. He does a good job voicing it. But his character definitely got to shine. Maybe that's not the case in Toy Story 4. I don't know. That wasn't one of the requests. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's just me that feels that way. But it does have some good action scenes, including an airport conveyor sequence where they're trying to rescue some of the other characters. There's a nice heart to these movies, which I think is why a lot of people do appreciate these films so highly as they do. Because there is some effort in the writing to give it some heart. So other than those nitpicks I mentioned, again, the voice actors do their jobs well. The animation is still solid. The pacing is fast. The designs on the humans look a little bit funky compared to the toys. Maybe that's just me in these movies, but the humans, again, they look a little bit funky, but maybe that's just a style choice. But with that said, this is still a good movie. I would say I liked it a bit more than the first one, just because of the story. Woody is a bit more likable. I liked him in the first one, but that was part of the arc and part of what the story point was. But he just comes off as a bit more likable in this movie, Tom Hanks' character. And I was talking about the apparently this had a lot of trouble production. It's pretty long, so I won't read the whole thing. But in 1997, they were impressed with the story reels and finished animation. Some of it was finished. And they liked the quality of work. And they said, we got to release it in theaters instead. The economics of direct-to-video Pixar releases were not working as well as they hoped, thanks to the higher salaries of the crew. The work done today was nearly lost in 1998 when one of the animators accidentally started a deletion of the root folder assets. Someone noticed, and they had lost 90% of the last 2 years of work, and the backups were found to have failed sometime previously. But a technical director, Galen Sussman, who had been working from home to take care of her newborn child, she had the backups of the assets saved on her computer. So they were able to recover nearly all of the lost assets, save for a few recent days of work. Can you imagine if that didn't happen, as in she did not have those backups. Imagine if you're working on something for 2 years and 90% was lost because one guy, one of the animators, accidentally started deletion of the root folder. Which shows that, I mean, that's a bit weird that one guy was almost able to delete the whole fucking thing. I don't know why. For some reason, I thought there'd be some type of protocols. Maybe there were after that. But just imagine, like, if that wasn't the case, if this woman didn't have the backup of the assets, 90% of your stuff is lost and 2 years of work would be down the drain. They probably would not have made the movie. They'd probably be like, it's a lost cause. I don't know. Would they have started again? I don't know. Food for thought. Also, apparently, creative staff were not happy with how the sequel was turning out. They watched the development reels and agreed that it was not working. Pixar met with Disney, telling them that the film would have to be redone. Disney said no. Pixar said, well, then they don't want to allow the film to be released in its existing state. Pretty much Pixar got their way and said, we got to redo the film in 9 months. So I don't know, maybe they would have restarted with... I guess saving that 90% didn't fucking matter if they don't restart. They restarted it. They asked whether the release date could be pushed back. They said no, there's no choice, because the film licensees and marketing partners who were getting toys and promotions already ready. I like to wonder, what was that original, whether story, film, that you said you're not happy with how it was turning out? I wonder if they would ever release that footage. Probably not, but it'd be interesting. Apparently because of the production schedule and having to rush for, now they had to redo all this. The overwork spun out into carpal tunnel syndrome for some animators, repetitive strain injuries for others. A full third of the staff ended up with some form of repetitive strain injuries by the time the film was finished. Pixar began setting limits for how many hours employees could work. Employees' self-imposed compulsions to excel often trumped any other constraints, and pretty much Pixar said, no, there's a limited amount of hours you can work, but then people are like, no, I want to prove myself, and so they decided to keep going no matter what. Apparently some of this is written in the 2008 Pixar book, The Pixar Touch. Interesting. Oh, I mean, I just saw some intriguing info about how much, like, this was a troubled production, but it turned out fairly good movie. I mean, Kelsey Grammer's character, you find out he's a dick. You find out why he wants to screw things over. When the toys get there, I mean, hell, Tom Hanks goes, well, I'm going to stay because, hey, he's going to throw me away anyway. What future is it for me? You know, these guys need me. Buzz Lightyear pretty much says a couple things like, hey, someone told me, blah, blah, blah. And then they leave. I'm like, yeah, you guys are really kind of ready to end the friendship or be done. You don't really give a lot of fight to your friendships, do you? There's not a lot of fight. Bullshit, I'm not leaving. Well, then I don't say bullshit, but no, I'm not leaving. Tough, make me. There's not a lot. It's just, okay. Maybe not as nonchalantly, but they're very quick to be like, okay, fine, we're leaving, goodbye. That seems like a common factor in these movies, so that's a bit strange to me if you become such big friends. But, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm looking more into it than I should. But with that said, good, solid sequel. I enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, take care, and next time I'll talk about Toy Story 3. See you guys later. Bye-bye.